Hey everybody, I got the privilege to interview Dylan Frost on the Full-Time FBA show. That's our podcast. If you haven't checked it out yet, fulltimefba.com/podcast. And we talked about wholesale, getting started with wholesale, why wholesale is awesome right now, why you should consider joining them and learning how to add wholesale to your Amazon business. It's a podcast episode that I recorded, but it was also a Zoom call. So I thought, hey, why don't I just record the video and share it with you, my friends on YouTube? So enjoy my interview with Dylan Frost, $1 million Amazon seller. All right, I'm excited today because I'm here with Dylan Frost, and we are going to be talking wholesale. And I'm excited because Dylan's been one of my wholesale mentors and has helped me and taught me a lot about doing wholesale, both in person and I guess not in person. You know, that's how cool video is. You know, you feel like it's in person when it's not. Watching some of the videos that you put together, walking through things that help me with wholesale, but both, via video and also with webinars and courses and things like that. So I'm glad that you're here. How's it going today, Dylan?
It's going great, and I'm thrilled to be here. Excited to talk about something that I love doing.
Absolutely, I am too. So let's just jump right into it. How did you first discover wholesale? Like, what were you doing, and how did you come across wholesale as an option when it comes to selling on Amazon?
So I got started in wholesale because Dan drug me into it. So he kind of discovered the specific opportunity and the specific strategy that we do today called reverse sourcing wholesale. Like he had done the original, old version, what we'll call the traditional version of wholesale, and didn't have a ton of success with that. And then he kind of discovered the model that we do, and I'm sure that we'll talk about here today, called reverse sourcing wholesale.
Yeah.
And then it started working really well. And I've been friends with Dan for a really long time, and he drug me into the business. He started explaining it to me, telling me all about what he was doing, how like the success that he was having, and drug me in and brought me on as a partner for his business, so that because he had faith in me that together we could really grow and scale and have a lot of success. And so that's how I got into it originally. And I was working a regular day job, working IT at a community college. And when he presented this whole concept of selling on Amazon to me, and in this particular fashion, it all made so much sense. And I said, "Yeah, man, absolutely. I'm all in. I hate my day job. I'm ready to let it go." So I started working with him while I was still working for a little while until, and we had fast success that enabled me to leave my job pretty soon, just a few months after starting together doing this.
That's pretty awesome. So you're talking about Dan. So it's Dan Metters, right?
Yeah, yeah, Dan Metters, yeah.
Yeah. And for all of you listening on the podcast, or uh, I'll have him as my guest next week, so you'll get to hear some of his story next week on this show. So you said you saw the light, you saw the profitability when it comes to wholesale, and man, in a couple months you're able to leave your job. Um, so why do you think, like fast forwarding to now and today, why do you think right now is a really good time to start adding wholesale to an Amazon business? You know, I know you did that, you know, in the past years ago, but like, why would someone right now, why would wholesale be an answer for them to consider adding to their Amazon business?
Amazon, as time has gone on, keeps changing policies. So I've been doing it for a while now. And every year they keep implementing and changing more and more policies to make what seems like every single style and strategy of selling on Amazon harder,
Mm.
except one, and that is selling products wholesale. So, from an arbitrage perspective, for years they've made things more difficult for you to sell licensed product or be approved in certain categories to sell those product. There's restrictions or that restriction. There's IP infringements that are floating around, right? That doesn't exist in wholesale because you are genuinely approved to sell any products that you want. All categories are open for you to sell in because the approval process is to provide wholesale invoices, which of course you always have. From the perspective of private label, it's been made more and more difficult, not only by the competition of other private label sellers, but with policies that Amazon implements based around how you can get reviews and things like that, that make it harder to compete and harder to get started there. So Time and Amazon have just made and demonstrated that wholesale really is what we believe to be the preferred business model by Amazon. It's how they want their sellers, many of their sellers, to be approaching the marketplace, and it's been pretty clear. And so whether we've been lucky that because that's what we got into, or how, whatever you want to call it, but that it's worked out very well.
Yeah, last year my wife and I were invited to go to Seattle to an Amazon Selling Partner Summit, and it was really awesome. But one thing I realized when I was there, with the verbiage that they use and the way that they were explaining things, I was like, they're talking mostly to wholesalers. Like they're not using retail arbitrage language or online arbitrage language. Um, you know, those are still valuable ways to grow an Amazon business. But like the people who are most up top, and they call them Amazonians, their language was mostly to people who are either doing private label or wholesale, and so that just kind of opened up my eyes again to just kind of how most Amazon top up people think. They think people are mostly sourcing inventory the way that they do. They reach out to companies and get a wholesale account and buy in bulk and sell it on Amazon.
Right. Yeah, it's the same. That's what I've always said is it's the same business model of Amazon. That's their business model. They identify brands and products, and they buy them in large quantities and resell them, and that's what they want other people to do. Yeah. So it's you're copying, you're mimicking that business model, Amazon's business model themselves.
So when someone starts to, actually, let's just go back even further. If someone wants to start doing wholesale on Amazon, what are like the simple first steps that what do they need to have, and how do they get started with that?
First thing is to know how to identify a product, how to identify a product opportunity, what you're looking for. So that was something that, and I can't take credit for this. Again, this is Dan that was able to develop this, but he developed rather, a formula, it's kind of like a mathematical formula that you can use to go and on Amazon and identify what would be a potentially great product opportunity for you. So I'll start by now explaining the difference in how we operate and how we've been able to have success, and then kind of what the traditional model of wholesale has been. So the way that it works for a lot of people who still do this is they wanted to sell products on Amazon. What they would do is they would first identify wholesale companies or distributors. These are big companies that carry hundreds and sometimes thousands of different brands products, and you can order from them in wholesale quantities at discounts. So you would identify some sort of wholesaler, and you would go through their catalogs of product and inventory, and you pretty much have to go line by line and to check, okay, what is this product? What can I at what cost can I buy it for? And if I sold it on Amazon, how much money, what is it selling for on Amazon? How much profit could I earn? Is the product even selling? Is it even worth carrying? And you would have to just do that, and it would take literally forever. It would take an eternity to do this. And you could even use things like software to speed up the process so that you could go through hundreds of lines pretty quickly. And still it was a long, tedious process because there were so few products that you could find that were even decently profitable. And another problem was when you did find a product that was decently profitable, there was a good chance that 4 or 5 other people also found it about the same time you did, and they also bought it. So now there was more competition, less sales, and sometimes the price degraded when you got it. So it was like just playing a constant game of whack-a-mole. It was very hard. You could have these good opportunities sometimes, but a lot of times you would buy things and just break even or not make any money off of it at all. It's frustrating. So Dan, in all his frustration one day, was looking at something on his desk. He was just staring at like a little widget that was on his desk, and he's just like, "Why can't I buy this? Why can't I just pick up the phone and buy this directly? I just want to buy this thing." And he was just like, "Wait a minute, I haven't tried that yet. I haven't." And so that was like the inspirational moment for him. So what he decided is, instead of going to a wholesaler and looking to see what they carry and what may be profitable amongst what they carry, he said, "No, not going to do that. I'm going to go to Amazon, and I'm going to see what's selling well on Amazon," and devised a system for looking at Amazon's sales rank on products and some other factors that we use to determine how often a product sells and how often you could sell it. So, which is part of our formula, what we call our wholesale formula for identifying products. So yeah, he figured that out. So he went to Amazon. He would find products first that were selling really well that he wanted to sell, and then instead of going to a wholesaler or a distributor who are middlemen, who buy from the manufacturer themselves and then resell it to you, he said, "Nope, I'm going to call the brand owner. I'm going to call the manufacturer directly and try to buy it from them directly at direct prices and open up a direct account and just bypass the middlemen, wholesalers, and distributors." And so that's what he did. And the first time he ever tried it, he just, looked up the company's contact information on Google and called them directly, had a chat on the phone, and opened up a direct account. And it actually was like kind of by accident. That wasn't even his intention when the very first time that he did it. The very first time that he did it, he called the brand directly because he just wanted to sell their product. He wanted to know who carried their product. So when he called them, he asked, "Who are your distributors so that I can buy your product? I want to be able to sell it on Amazon or whatever." And they told him, "Well, they're these people. They are these people, but you could just buy it direct from us." And he was like, "I can what?" Like he didn't even know. Like his solution was, I can find the products I really want, and I can call them directly and figure out who their distributors were. But they told him, "No, you can just buy it direct from us." And he was just like, "Okay, but how many do I have to buy?" Because then he was suspicious. He thought they were going to say, "Yeah, you got to buy, $50,000 worth of units or whatever." And they're like, "No, our minimum order is $200." Kind of thing, you know what I mean? So he was just like, "Oh my gosh," it was a complete revelation. So now from that day forward, our business model has been identify great selling products on Amazon, and then call the brand owner directly to open a direct account with them. And that's what it's been ever since.
Yeah, and that's called the reverse wholesale method or reverse sourcing. And that's what really clicked with me, because before I came across the wholesale formula that you were talking about, before I came across that, I took multiple wholesale courses. I took video courses. I've read books on sourcing wholesale for Amazon, and they all told you the same thing. Go to trade shows, go search, for, the companies and get the accounts and then get their catalog. And so you either get this phone book sized, catalog, or you get this spreadsheet or whatever, a PDF spreadsheet, and it just takes so much time to go through, not even knowing if you're going to find a winner, but hearing from you and look for the winners first, and then go get those relationships with the wholesale accounts, is a game changer. And so all these other wholesale courses that I took teaching me the hard way, which maybe not the hard way because it was easy to do. It just wasn't successful. It was a non-successful way. I feel like that's the way most people try to search. Like, what percentage do you think are actually doing a reverse wholesale when it comes to trying to do wholesale on Amazon?
Very low. I'd imagine it's less than 10%. It could be less than 5 or even 1%.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's like no hard data, but that's not what I believe too. Like most people that I've come in contact with, I mean, if most of the people who are trying to teach it are teaching this way that didn't work for me, and didn't work for a lot of other people. And then I came across y'all and the wholesale formula, and it taught me something completely different. And I actually started to see results, and I continued to see results. I learned about the wholesale formula back in 2015. And so I've had, years of wholesale accounts and reordering monthly, and it's been a complete game changer. And I know wholesale, is a game changer for y'all as well. How much time do you think it takes to grow a wholesale business in the beginning? And then tell me a little bit about what your wholesale business is like now and how much time. So, think about how much time a beginner would need to invest. And then after you kind of start learning it, how you can start to kind of offboard some of the things that or offload some of the things, and how much time do you use on your wholesale sourcing now?
Yeah. So for several years now, we've been helping and teaching other people how to do this and showing them. And so I've got to see just so many people succeed in so many different ways. And so the thing that stands out to me about it is it really, for a lot of people, it only takes one account. It really only takes one account to totally change your life. And and so there's just so many examples and representations of that. Cheryl Brightman, her first like major wholesale account is an account that she still has today here 4 or 5 years later after she got it, and that first wholesale account generates about $250,000 in profit per year for her, and because she was able to get the exclusive for this company that has several super high velocity products and built a great relationship with them. So it like Emmerich Manello was another student that stands out to us of really, it was just one account. He just had one. It wasn't his first account, but it was one of his first accounts that he was able to generate significant income for him. And then he went on to sell the rights to that wholesale account, which is, it's a very interesting story. He sold the rights to that wholesale account. He didn't sell his business necessarily. He just sold the rights to that wholesale account that he had because he was effectively the exclusive seller of the product, and he sold those exclusive rights for over $400,000, like wow. 2.5 years after he had acquired it. So I see all these stories, and it's fascinating. So it's possible that you can have super fast success and that you can have overwhelming life-changing success. Trent Dearsmith is another example that comes to mind of working with him. He was able in his first year of selling, he was able to hit $300,000 a month in sales, and then beyond. Now he's tremendously successful. He's happy to brag that his income at the end of the year is over $1 million a year. It's fantastic what he's been able to do. And so I'm telling you that there's all these stories of people that have had this fast success, but I also want to caution everybody that success looks way different for other people, because everyone is different. Everyone's situation is different. So I've seen those people with tremendously fast success, but I've seen people with slow success. I've seen people that start learning wholesale, or maybe they enroll in our program or learn from me or do coaching with us, and they don't earn $1 for a whole year. It takes them a whole year. Or some people enroll and they take it really slow, and it's because it's at their own pace. It takes that sort of time, right? And then naturally, we also see people that have no success at all, whether that's their own fault for not taking the time and investment and energy to doing it, or they just had difficulties for one reason or another, right? But that's the reality of it. That's the realistic way to look at it. Is business isn't always for everybody, and anything that in life that is worth doing is going to be hard, and this is no different. Our business model, the reverse sourcing wholesale business model, I hope that I never go on record to tell anybody that it's easy. I may say that it's simple. I may say that it's simple. Because it is a simple concept, but it's nothing in life worth doing is ever easy, and I think that's important for everyone to remember and always to take away in this sort of thing. You got to put the time and effort and energy into it, just like everything else. But the cool thing is that it's a real, proven business model that's used by Amazon and Walmart and multi-million-dollar companies like ours as well, and many of our students. So it's a proven successful model that's been around for a long time of direct sourcing and doing that reverse sourcing. You just have to put in the time and energy and effort. You can have results at a lot of different speeds and at your own pace, really.
Yeah, definitely. You that thing that stood out to me the most is it's not easy, but it is simple. And anything that's worth doing, it's going to require hard work. And that hard work is going to pay off if you put the time and effort into it. One of the things that most people I come in contact with when dealing with trying to do wholesale sourcing that they said is the hardest part is like reaching out to wholesalers who say, no, I'm not accepting Amazon sellers, or I'm not accepting new Amazon sellers. So what would you say to people who deal with that roadblock? And I say roadblock because that's their perspective. It's a roadblock. I personally think it's a speed bump to get over. But what do you say to people who see that as a roadblock?
Yeah, it's neither. I don't see it as a roadblock or a speed bump. I see it as the reason that the model can be successful at all. That's funny to say, or it's interesting to say. So let me describe it. It's gonna be a long story to describe it, but we'll get there eventually. So when you think about just business opportunities in general, that a lot of them exist, and you've seen many people have seen many business opportunities, and they've seen a lot of scams, and they've seen a lot of fly-by-night stuff, and so the reality of the situation is, if you are interested in a business model or a business opportunity because it avoids competition, then it's not a real business, because that's not what business, like, we live in a capitalist society, whether you like it or not. This is the United States of America, and the whole foundation of capitalism is built on the concept of competition. So if you find or identify a business strategy or a business model that attempts to avoid competition entirely, then it is a fleeting, limited time opportunity that you cannot build a long-term, successful business with. You may be able to make some quick money until the competition comes. So I like to help people understand that, right? Because now I'm going to turn into what you were talking about. People identify and have difficulty or struggle with the idea that when you reach out to brand owners, a lot of times they aren't interested in working with you, or they're already working with some other people, or they don't want to talk. So it turns a lot of people off. But that's literally why the business model can be successful for you, is because it turns away many people, leaving you with the opportunity where, if you do follow through and you do figure out how to convince these brand owners to want to work with you, well, then it's more valuable. Because if they've told 99 people no, but they told you yes, it's a significantly better opportunity. So the idea that it's hard, or that there are challenges, is what makes it a successful model in the first place. Because so many people are trying to do it and they're doing it poorly, it's an opportunity for you to do it well and be very successful. So I hope that makes sense and helps put it into perspective. But yeah, like you have to learn to overcome those challenges in any business to succeed. There are always challenges, but your success is about your ability to overcome challenges.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I know that the upcoming wholesale workshop webinars that we have scheduled coming up soon are going to answer a lot of the questions. And because I know that with going through, the free wholesale webinars that we've got planned, and taking a look at what's on tap for everybody, what they're going to learn, seeing how to turn those no's into yeses, is a big focus of that. And I know in the wholesale formula, that's what I've learned that has helped set me apart from other sellers, the rest of the competition, who are just calling these wholesale companies or emailing these wholesale companies and saying, hey, I'd like to sell your products. Could you send me a spreadsheet of your inventory? There's nothing memorable about that. There's nothing that the wholesale company or the representative is going to be like, oh, I want to work with this guy. It's like, gimme. But I know, and we'll get into this in the webinar, and we'll give you a link to all the listeners, how they can sign up for the webinar in just a moment. But y'all just really helped me see how I could be able to serve the wholesale companies and the brands to be able to get those no's turned into yeses, and it's revolutionized my own Amazon business. And like you said before, just one account could completely change someone's life, just one wholesale account. I know with my own wholesale accounts, there's very few that I focus on all the time and continue to reorder, but yet I'm still able to make, full-time income with only part-time hours, focusing on that. And so, I'm able to just put in, a few hours a week and continually reorder and continue to see those sales. And it's just been life-changing.
Yeah, it's front-loaded work for continued results, right? It takes all the time and energy to get a good wholesale account, where you first identify it, and then to work with the brand to convince them to let you be one of their authorized Amazon retailers, right? That's where all the work is. That's all the time and energy. But once you have the account, and you do the work with the brand that you promised them, but after all that's done, then you just have this profit machine that doesn't really require you to do much other than order and send it in, order and send it in. So it becomes almost like a form. I hate this term. I don't love the term passive income because no income is truly passive.
Right.
But it becomes a form of passive income. We'll say that, and which is really nice. It's not that there wasn't work that was involved. There was plenty of work in trying to get the account. But after the account was required, you have this nice little recurring revenue, recurring income for you. That's great. Yeah. So I love that part of it and that aspect of it. And that's part of the reason why it's so scalable, is because once you have it's not like it's something that maintains this high level of work for you to maintain, right? You have that good wholesale account, and now it's time to get the next one and the next one. Creates that opportunity of scale for you, and that's how you're able to go, from a 5-figure business to a 6-figure business to a 7-figure business to an 8-figure business. Is that opportunity of scale?
Yeah, the opportunity is amazing. I'm seeing it personally in my own Amazon business. I am seeing, a lot of other students of the wholesale formula, seeing that with them. If you are listening to this and you're like, okay, where can I get some more information? Very soon we're going to be having a wholesale workshop. We're going to be having a couple webinars where we're going to walk you through, how to find those wholesale accounts. And then we'll focus on how to land the wholesale accounts, how to actually get those wholesale accounts. So if you're interested in signing up for that, if you go to fulltimefba.com/wholesale workshop webinar, you can sign up for the webinar and you'll see when it is. If you happen to be listening to this sometime in the future after the webinar is played, that link will forward you to a wait list, and we'll let you know when we do this again. Because it's really important for you to know that the wholesale workshop webinars that we're going to be doing are going to be limited time. You need to make sure that you are there watching, and there's going to be a very short window, which you'll be able to do it because we really feel like those who are going to actually show up and invest their time are going to be the ones that take action. If we left this webinar up, year round, then people will just put it off because it's always there. So we actually want to give you some scarcity so that you realize this is something you need to jump in on.
The reality is, I'm gonna interrupt you. Yeah. The reality of it is, like, the information that we're going to share is stuff that we don't like floating around in replays. You know what I mean? The stuff that we're going to share is I'm going to give you some examples here. What we're going to share is our actual wholesale formula, that formula that you can use to go on Amazon and identify product opportunities. We're going to show you some real live product opportunities, many real live product opportunities, and give you examples, and then also teach you how to find some of your own. And then we're going to show, again, stuff I don't really want floating around all the time on the internet for free. We're also going to show you specific strategies that we use to convince brands to let us be one of their authorized Amazon retailers, and in some cases even their exclusive authorized Amazon retailer, right? So that's just some of the things that we're going to cover. And yeah, it's like that's another reason that it's a limited time opportunity, is because the stuff that we share is too valuable really for us to leave it up all the time for free.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, fulltimefba.com/wholesale workshop webinar. And we're really excited about that. Dylan will be there, Dan will be there, and it's going to be a good time. So be sure to go and sign up for that. Before we go, Dylan, any last words?
Yeah, I think so. We were talking about some stuff, and it just helped. Something came over me I wanted to share. So for me, with business, right? Everyone, anyone that's listening that's a full-time job, I was there. I was with you, and I despised it. It was one of those situations where I hope none of the people I used to work with are listening. But I just felt like I was working with a lot of people. And a lot of people that were my bosses or in charge of where I was working, where I just felt like I was smarter than them. I could do their jobs better than them. And it frustrated me greatly that there was no way, where I was anyway, there was no way I could move up and without just time, right? The only way I could move up in the company was if just 6 years later, there may have been an opportunity to, bump my pay up $3,000 or $4,000. And it was frustrating. So I knew that I had to make a change. I had to do something for my own mental health and my own family's well-being. I had to try to find a way to earn more money. I wasn't educated. I didn't have a college education, so trying to find a different job wasn't going to be the way. The only way I could do it was through business. And I don't think I would have ever gotten to where I am now if it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for this little piece of advice that I want to give to you. And it was not something I came up with originally on my own, of course. I saw it online, read it online, and it just was one of those things where it grabs a hold of you and shakes you and gives you an epiphany of like, oh, this is it. This is the key to success, financial success and business success. And it's so simple. It was for me. And maybe it won't be as profound on people listening as it was to me. But it was an explanation about how do you make money? How is money made in this world? And money is made by you providing value to someone, and they pay you money in exchange for that value. And I just had never heard it put in that kind of way. It's like, how do you make money? How do you make money? How do you earn money? And it's you have to provide value to someone, and they'll give you money in exchange for that value. And that changed the way that I looked and thought about everything forever.
Yeah.
So it becomes so always when we're in our business, we're always thinking, how can I provide somebody value? That's what it all comes down to. Is if you're always, if you're no longer focused, if you get rid of the selfish mindset of how do I make money, and you cut that out and you start thinking, how do I provide someone value? And your whole life will change. And it did for me anyway.
Yeah, definitely. And so, when you take the time to get to know what is valuable to that person and then provide that to them, it's a game changer in every area of your life. It sounds like something Tony Robbins would say. Was that it, or
it was Tony? Yes, it was in fact Tony Robbins who said this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I just remembered. I usually forget to do this sometimes, but I always ask my guests 3 questions to close out the podcast. Little lightning round questions. You can answer them as fast or as slow as you want. I don't know why I call it the lightning round and give you time to answer. But I'm going to ask you 3 quick questions to close this up, and then we'll get out of here. Question number 1, what's your favorite thing to do when you're not working on your Amazon business?
So right now, it's definitely hanging out with my son. He's 1 year old, just turned 1 a couple weeks ago, and he's just a complete joy to be with. And I'm treasuring this time. So yeah, definitely that.
That's awesome. Next question. What has been a book that you've read recently that is impacting your business?
Oh, this is funny. Whether anyone will believe it or not, I have never read a book to completion in my entire life. I've never read a book. I told you I was uneducated.
Hey, still doing well. All right. Last question. What are you most excited about when it comes to the future of Amazon?
Oh man, there's a lot to be excited about. What Amazon is this year in particularly is on a gigantic growth trajectory. A lot of that has been created because of COVID-19. So it's circumstances that are unfortunate, but it has moved e-commerce faster into the future than it was already heading. So Amazon's growth this year is probably going to be their biggest year of growth in terms of actual revenue dollars, and it probably won't be close. Like their growth will be their largest, in terms of dollars growth by a wide margin. So it's, first of all, that's paying, like all the people that have got on Amazon are getting on Amazon now are going to experience that growth too, just by being a part of it. So that's why now is a great time as any. It's because the world has changed now. The world has totally changed. And it will be changed forever from the effects of COVID on the whole planet, right? More people will be buying things online and doing things online. And they are doing it now, and that's just going to continue. It's just going to be part of our culture now. And nothing is better positioned than Amazon for that. It's like just the number 1 marketplace for goods online. It was before, and it now more than ever, it will continue to be. And I'm always thankful, for that opportunity. Dan and I are, because, just to be direct, it's selling on Amazon is what made us rich.
Yeah.
So we're super thankful for it. And that's why we enjoy being able to share that opportunity with other people too, because we came from the middle of nowhere with nothing, and we're able to use Amazon to become successful. And so, love being able to do things like this, podcasts like this, share it. with other people, well, like our webinar that we're going to do. So it's just always been really important for us.
Yeah, well, I'm really thankful that you and Dan share in your wealth of wisdom and knowledge, because it helped change my own life and continues to do so. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely.